Welcome to Enlite IAS Toppers Talk. Today we have ASWATHY Chechi with us, who needs no introduction. She has been seen by everyone here roaming in corridors and studying. So welcome Chechi to Enlite IAS Toppers Talk.
Thank you, Dishi.
And I am
Thank
very
you so
happy
much.
to welcome you, and congratulations for achieving 40 rank this year in Civil Service Examination.
Thank you.
Tell me something about yourself which others don't know here as such.
Okay. Actually, everyone here at Enlite knows me very well, but still I will introduce myself. My name is ASWATHY, and I secured an All India rank of 40 in 2019 Civil Service Examination. I'm an actual resident of Kollam. I was brought up in Kasaragod for quite some time. So I did my schooling there in Kendra Vidyalaya and Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya, and later in Kendra Vidyalaya Trivandrum, following which I did my graduation in MBBS from Sri Gokula Medical College and Research Foundation. After graduating from there, I have been trying and giving civil services examinations throughout, and finally I have found success in my 4th attempt.
Okay, so you just mentioned that you are a doctor by profession. So when did this first occur to you that you want to go for civil service, leaving being a doctor actually?
Yeah, so as a student, I was never keen on civil services to become, to grow up and become a civil servant. There was nothing of that sort. It was never a childhood ambition. This came to me when I was actually vacationing back in home after finishing my final year. I am very keen in social sciences. I used to be very keen in social sciences, but then after joining college, I was completely into science stream. So I was revisiting those subjects, and that's when I stumbled upon this particular examination. And then ever since, there has been no looking back.
Okay, so as you have mentioned that this was your 4th attempt, right? So what kept you going through this long journey? Like a lot of people lose their motivation, etc. So what kept you going throughout this time?
So my first 2 attempts I tried and gave it by self-preparation. So there were a lot of loopholes in the way I prepared. It was just not right. I myself knew that a lot of things are falling out of place. So after that, I joined Enlite in 2017 for my prelims cum mains batch. It started in November 2017. I was working then. After finishing my notice period, I joined in December, and ever since I've been associated here. So 2018 was my first systematically organized and well prepared attempt, to be frank. But then I couldn't get through that prelims, and it was a little heartbreaking. But then my parents, my husband and my teachers at Enlite were very confident that it could be probably because luck didn't favor me back then. So I should try and give one more attempt. I should give one more mains, to be precise. That was the demand, and I followed that.
Okay, so as we all know, there are 3 stages to this exam, and you had a really long, arduous journey for prelims. So would you like to say some comments or some advice for aspirants who are preparing currently for writing the prelims?
Okay, so from whatever experience I've had, I would say keep your sources to a minimum. Learn from the standard textbooks that are suggested by most of our teachers and their toppers. Keep your resources limited to that. And for current affairs, I would definitely recommend reading newspaper daily. And then after doing that, you can, yes, depend on the monthly compilations that come out. I never liked completely depending on the monthly compilations for current affairs, because it felt very boring, very vague, and I hated myself by the end of finishing each compilation. So for those who haven't done that yet, yes, do depend on the current affairs compilation, and otherwise on the static textbooks that are mostly recommended by other toppers and teachers. So play safe with those books in hand. Yeah.
Okay, a lot of aspirants usually have this problem in mains. When it comes to mains, the answer writing part, I would not even say problem, they are scared of answer writing, because at one go there is the content part that you need to deliver a lot of content in say 150 to 250 words, and also the time management, because you just get around 7 to 8 minutes to write an answer. So how did you go about answer writing?
Okay. So I think when it comes to answer writing, most of the aspirants feel that they need to have very good vocabulary and like really huge linguistic skills to write the mains answers, but that is not the case. That is not the case in the civil services mains examination for sure, because there the demand of that exam is for you to express the whatever has been asked in the question, for you to address that question in a very simple manner, and most of us write the answers point wise. So the way you construct your sentence, all that is not as important as your content there. However, as far as mains is concerned, you should develop good content, and that will definitely reach you through different sources. By the end of mains examination, it will reach you. So first is content building, and second of all would be the time management, because that content has to be delivered in a fixed amount of time. Now time management wouldn't be something that will be, that will be of the correct way. It won't reach you the right way right from the first paper. No, it won't. It will take time. For example, when I gave my first mains paper for the mock test series after prelims, I think I answered around 11 questions. Then gradually it increased to 16 questions, and towards the end I used to answer around 17 to 18 questions. I still remember taking this answer paper, the full test answer paper, and going to Mahesh sir with my eyes my eyes full of tear, and telling him, sir, I couldn't complete this paper. And then he told me, don't worry, when you go to the hall it will happen. So I don't know what in him made him say that, but then it actually happened. Finally, when I went to the hall, I think except for one paper in which I left half a question, all other papers I could complete. In fact, I completed ethics around 15 to 20 minutes before the given time period. So probably the adrenaline rush will play a very important role there, but then time management is definitely something you can build up over time, and you will be able to tackle it by the end of the exam, sure.
Okay, so let's move on to your optional. Your optional was medical science. So why did you choose medical science as your optional?
So since I did my graduation in MBBS, medical science was an obvious choice, because when I looked up the syllabus, it included all the subjects that I learned. In fact, when I opened the syllabus and checked it out back in 2016 after completing my house surgency, I felt if you give me a paper now, I can write 70 to 80% of the answers then and there. So that kind of inspired me to take medical science itself. Second of all, I didn't want to let go of whatever I studied for some 5-6 years of my life. Apart from that, I did give a thorough research on the success rate, whether toppers would recommend the paper and everything. So yes, all that did fall into the right place. So that's how I decided to take up medical science, and I would actually like to express my heartfelt gratitude to my professors in college who taught me. It's because they taught me so well that I had the confidence to continue my preparation with medical science itself throughout.
Okay, we have all seen you sitting with those big books of medical science over here.
Yeah.
So what will be your suggestion for someone who wants to opt for medical science? Like what should they look into, etc.? Because we all feel that those are really big books.
Yeah. So actually we study around 19 subjects in college while graduating. I think 14 of those subjects are there for the UPSC medical science optional exam. So if you look up the syllabus, you know that from each subject a fixed amount of portion has been selected. So go back to the same textbooks that you used during your graduation years. You might have already studied everything from them, and you must have marked and highlighted many pages and kept. You would have wrote all the extra points in that book. So go back to the same books, use the same books to build your content. So as far as UPSC medical science exam is concerned, the way how it is different is in the fact that you have to write all those subjects in the morning and in the afternoon continuously. So all that 13 to 15 subjects you will have to remember, all the content you will have to remember for producing it out on the same day. So for that, I believe revision is the key, especially for the first paper. I think you just have to by heart as much as possible and keep revising it so that you can retain it to the maximum. And as far as the second paper is concerned, there is a little bit leeway, there is a little bit freedom there, because you can use a lot of application based things over there. For example, when a patient comes to you, what are the differential diagnoses you have, how will you investigate him, and how will you rule out each diagnosis and reach your final diagnosis. So those kind of application based questions come in the second paper, so that would be a little bit more easier. So the first paper you will have to by heart and revise as much.
So let's move to the next segment. Let's come to the interview part.
Okay.
So how was your interview, and what do you make out of what UPSC expects from an aspirant?
Okay, so my personality test was on 20th of March, right before the rest got postponed because of COVID. So I had a very narrow escape there. So mine was under the chairmanship of Dr. T.C. Anand sir, and the board was very warm, very cordial, very welcoming. I had a very great time spending that 35 minutes with them. So it was a very enriching experience. It's actually the first formal interview I have experienced in my life too. Given my background as a doctor, I never had to face much interviews before. So it was a very enriching experience. Now, if I'm asked about the way how I prepared for interview, soon after the mains result came, I was very happy. I used to read newspapers. So with whatever knowledge I had, I took a one-on-one session with Mahesh sir here. And that was a very bad session. I answered things in a very bad way. In fact, for the feedback, he told me that there's nothing I can tell you. You have to prepare very well. I mean, there was nothing good that came out of you. So prepare well. So then I took help of my friends here, my peer group here, the circle of people with whom I studied. That included you. Also, Abhilash Harikumar, he has been very instrumental in the way I prepared for my personality test. I remember him coming to me after his evening jogging and then sitting with me for almost 30 minutes to 1 hour and training me in all that's happening around so that I can frame my answers better. Apart from that, I must thank Sharathetan because he used to run and come from Infosys whenever I called him, come here, take my mock interview and go back. Also, I took the help of few doctors. I must mention Dr. Zenia Madam. She is the Assistant Professor of Community Medicine in Government Medical College, Kollam. She is the one who trained me in the public health aspect for the personality test. Apart from that, I did contact few other doctors also, Dr. Preeta Madam in pediatrics, Dr. Nishu in obstetric departments to help me because I worked in pediatric and obstetric department before. So based on my work experience, if at all any question comes, I should be able to tackle it. So if you see, I took the help of a lot of people and that's how I prepared. So whatever I said in the interview hall, I believe it had inputs from all these people.
Okay, so was there any out-of-box question or some special question you remember from your interview and you want to share with us?
Most of the questions I believe came from my detailed application form. So something that went out of the box for me was there was this one panel member, actually that respective sir, he opened up his diary in which there was Kerala written in the top of a page and there were some 10 to 20 questions beneath that. And then he started asking me those questions in a rapid fire round, And that was a little bit surprising for me because I didn't expect that. Like even before I completed one answer, he would cut me and ask the next question. So that was one surprising element. Another one surprising element was that one of the sirs there, one of the panel members, he actually kept pronouncing my name wrong, probably because he was from North India. He called me Avasthi all the time. So I told him, sorry sir, my name is Ashwathi. And then we all had a laugh and then he told me, don't answer the previous question. I'm sorry, I mistook your identity, your name itself. So you tell me what is the meaning of your name. And then there were questions about my name after that. And the final surprise I would say was when the chairman sir told me that Ashwathi, your interview is over, you can leave now. And then I got up, I thanked the whole panel and then I was about to leave. And as soon as I pushed my chair back, one of the members actually told, no sir, we didn't ask her any questions from geopolitics, so let her sit for some more time. And I was like, in my head, I was already relieved from the stress of being in the interview hall. And then I was asked to sit again. So that was a little bit weird or out of the box for me. And I think he asked me some question about Syria and I think I answered something about Bahrain. So by then I just messed up the whole answer, but then it was fine. I again thanked all of them and left the hall.
Okay, let's move a little bit back to mains preparation. So I would like to ask you paper wise, like for paper 1, what was your preparation and so on. So let's start with paper 1.
Okay.
What was your preparation strategy for paper 1, which basically includes geography, history and sociology, right?
Okay, so history, except world history, I think I had revised and kept everything during my prelims preparation itself. So those notes were dependent on whatever Mahesh sir taught us here during the classroom sessions and the booklet that he gave me. And yes, my extra reading also did help me in value addition. So history went like that. World history again, Joseton, he is the one who took world history for us. So his class notes are very revered here among all the students. So I followed suit. Then coming to geography, it was Surjit sir, Abu Matthew sir and Akhil VS. Three of them helped me a lot with geography. And then coming to Indian society, the person I mentioned earlier, Abhilash Harikumar, he is the one who sat me and taught me Indian society in the most perfect way possible. So that's how my preparation for GS1 went. So I delivered my content from all these different places, and then I wrote and showed the answers to my mentors to get maximum guidance possible, and I corrected it over time. Now coming to the second paper, right?
Yeah.
So in second paper, polity again, most of the content that I delivered was from Lakshmikant and the class notes that Abhilash sir gave us while taking class. And I believe Abhilash sir was someone who took polity classes in such a way that anyone would fall in love with that subject. Polity was one of my favorite subjects during the entire preparation. And he helped me a great deal with answer writing. He's very approachable. I remember taking previous year questions, going to him directly and asking him for the answers, and he was very keen in providing the answers. Then coming to international relations, again mostly from the class notes and from whatever I read in current affairs. That's how international relations went. But then for IR, I believe there are different words, and there is a different language that you have to use when you address IR answers. For example, you have to use terms like strategic diplomacy, strategic depth, diplomatic capital. Those kind of terms are important. Yeah, geopolitics, those kind of terms. So in order to get a knack of that, what I did was I took the answer keys of the previous test series conducted here. And then I read those answer keys, and then I kind of got an idea of how things should be written for IR. So mostly those answer keys helped me a great deal in writing. Apart from that, social justice again, Joseton's social justice class is something highly revered among all the students here. So I was a student in that class, so definitely those notes helped me along with current affairs.
Okay, so let's come to paper 3.
Yeah.
Paper 3 is basically economics, disaster management, environment, etc. So how did you go about that?
So for science and technology, environment and disaster management, mostly whatever notes I had prepared myself from newspaper and current affairs is what helped me the most. Whatever I studied for prelims also did, I did make it a point to add those as examples somewhere in my mains answer. So yes, whatever I studied for prelims plus current affairs. Then coming to Indian economy, mainly the inputs were from my husband. And apart from him, also Gaudaman also played a very important role, and I had sat in Parvati Chechi's classes, so she's the one who gave me the base for economics. So her classes plus the other people who I mentioned, their efforts together helped me score in economics.
So the next paper is paper 4, and I would specifically like to ask you about paper 4, that is ethics, because I feel that you were one of the best people here in ethics, and I really liked your paper, the way you write your answers. So tell us something about your ethics preparation.
Okay, so my ethics preparation was mostly based on the syllabus that we have. So what I did is I took up the syllabus, I went through each and every word given in that syllabus, I found out my own definitions and meanings to that. I constructed examples that would validate the meanings that I found. And then I tried writing answers. So as far as ethics is concerned, Mahesh sir was my main mentor. So I went to him with those answers, and he would tell me about where I should be adding a little more or where I should be deleting a little bit. So my proportion in the answer initially wasn't right, because sometimes I used to analyze little and give a long example. So he's the one who helped me find the right foot there. So yeah, that's how most of my ethics preparation went. I wouldn't say I studied a book or a particular resource or a material for ethics. Sure. Most of what I wrote in the answer papers usually came from whatever examples and whatever experiences I've had as a person, the exposures I've had as a child, as a teenager and as a college student, and from the feedbacks that Mahesh sir used to give me during my sessions with him.
Okay. This year's prelims is very close by, it's next month. So any special message you want to give the aspirants who are going to appear for this year's civil service examination?
Okay, so I know most of you might be a little bit tensed right now because the exams are near. I've been there last year, the year before that I've been there, so I know that really well. But then I would tell you that as far as preliminary examination is concerned, maintaining your calm is a very important factor. because content though most of you might have really built by now. Go to the hall with no anxiety. Go to the hall as your normal self. Give the exam, look at the paper and tell, I'm going to conquer you today, and give the paper. Have presence of mind. Be calm and cool. That would be my advice. I don't think I need to say anything on the preparation front. Just be calm and give your best.
Okay, so this was a long journey, right? So who were your support system or pillars during this journey?
Okay, my support system, if you ask, my family for sure, my father, mother, sister, brother, my nephews, my husband, family completely, yes, on one side. And then on the other side, I would say my Enlite family, because all the teachers here, they are either like my parents or my siblings to me, and all the other faculty members here, they have all been very instrumental. I would like to add a small point there, that my optional subject was medical science. So studying those subjects alone was a humongous task for me. So whenever people here used to correct mains answer papers and sit, be free after their correction, I used to ask them to come sit with me, learn some medical along with me. I'll teach you, you just listen to me and everything. So there were these people, Gautam and Aishwarya, all these people, they had no connection with medical science at all. But then for my sake, they used to come and sit with me, even Bhagyashri, Tom, all these people. So they have all helped me in many ways, actually, not in few ways, in many ways to kind of make my preparation, reach a level where I could achieve a rank. So Enlite family and my own family are the two pillars, I would say.
Okay, your association with Enlite has been a very long one. So how would you summarize your association with Enlite?
My association with Enlite, apart from being long, it has also been a very fruitful association too. Words can't express the kind of gratitude I have for Mahesh sir and Abhilash sir. Apart from being great teachers, they also supported me emotionally and academically over these 2 years. I remember there is this small bench behind their office room, behind their chair in their office room, where I used to go sit with my general studies papers most of the days after 8 p.m. because until 8 I would be busy with my optional. I would go there, sit there and show them my answer papers, and then I used to get the feedbacks. And I used to listen to each and every word that comes from them, because every word could be a prospective mark for me in the mains answer. So thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I know words don't do justice, but still this is the least minimum I can do. So thank you so much. Apart from that, I would also like to thank Joseton a lot, because right before my prelims, when I called him, he told me don't take the baggage of the previous 2 lost prelims when you go to the hall. Right before my mains, when I called him, he told me enjoy the process of giving that 20 questions in 3 hours. Right before my interview, when I called him, he told me smile at them when you enter and make it a point to smile at them before you leave. And I did follow all of that. So thank you so much, Joseton. Thank you so much for that. Apart from that, I would also like to express my gratitude towards Surjit sir, Abu Matthews sir, Abu Charian sir, Parvati Chechi. Now coming to my contemporaries here, I would love to express my heartfelt thanks and my overwhelming love for Abhilash, Gautam, Aishwarya CG, Bhagyashri, Priti. All of them helped me a great deal in my GS as well as optional preparation. Also taking my combined study partners' names, Anup Shahji and Arun K. Pavitran. You guys are the best. Thanks for turning the whole combined study scenarios into a fun way of learning place for me. Now coming to my students, most of them have been very kind and very generous towards me, especially my mentorship students from the April-May batch of 2018 and the July batch of 2018. Teaching you guys have made me a better person. It has increased my knowledge. So thank you so much for that. In fact, it was a student from the July 2018 batch who called me up on the morning of 4th of August and told me, ma'am, I saw your name in the list and it's again serial number 40, so I hope that is your rank. So she saved me from the anxiety of knowing what my rank is, and she just passed the information to me right away. So thank you, Julie Chechi, if you're seeing this, thank you so much for that. Apart from that, I would also like to thank Tom, Chitra Chechi and Nandu, because Tom was the one who used to open the institute for me whenever I came early in the morning and close the institute when I used to sit here late till 11:30 or 12 in the night. Chitra Chichi and Nandu have helped me a great deal, taking the question papers, printouts and answer booklets and giving them to me for me to write answers, because I never came on time to write the test papers because I used to be busy with my optional most of the time. So whenever I came, they used to take the printouts and give it to me, staple them and keep it safe in the cupboard and make sure it gets corrected. So I hope I've taken everyone's name. If I've left anyone, I'm so sorry, but all of you are always there in my prayers. Thank you so much.
So thank you, Chechi, for taking out your precious time, and I wish you all the best, and I hope you will bring some new changes in the service as a future IAS officer.
Thank you, Dishi. Thank you so much. And a huge thanks to everyone at Enlite for supporting me and for encouraging me to achieve my dreams. Thank you. Thank you so much.